Hi, this is Dave. So I'm going to make a couple of tarps out of some ripstop nylon material, and I want to do it on the cheap. So what I already have is I have a tarp that I made, and this tarp here measures 15 feet by 10 feet 4 inches, and it weighs 3.5 pounds. So the area that it covers is 17.25 yards. I want to reduce the weight and increase the size of the tarp. So I bought some ripstop nylon material, 200 yards of it. And this is 3 pieces of that material. And so when it's all done, it should measure in at about 17 feet 6 inches. And 16 feet 2 inches wide, and it should weigh about 2.5 pounds, and that's after I silicone it. So that's what I'm going to do today, is silicone it. I've got 2 containers of silicone, 10.5 fluid ounces, and I've got some mineral spirits. I've got some heavy duty protective gloves. Got a 2-gallon container right here, so I'm going to put this and one of these in. So half the mineral spirits, one of these, put it in here, shake it for about 2 minutes, and then go ahead and put the tarps in and shake it just like a washing machine. When it's all done, I'm going to go ahead and take it out. I've got some spots preset on the bottom end of our deck, and so I'm going to hang it up. To hang it, I'm going to use these clips. I've got a whole bag of them, and I'll just go ahead and let it dry. It's going to be about 55 degrees and cloudy all day today, so it's a perfect day. This I'll be using to get the silicone out of the container and into here. After it dries for 2 or 3 days, I'm going to take those 3 pieces and I'm going to, rather than stitch them, I'm going to try this product, which is peel and stick, and see if that works. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to end up doing a whip stitch by hand on those tarps. But either way, we'll try that first and see if that works. So that's the project. Let's go ahead and get started. I have half a gallon of mineral spirits in this container, and I'm just putting the clear silicone in. Close that up, start shaking. It's going to take me about 2 minutes to do this. As soon as that's done, I'm going to stuff the material in and make sure it's completely saturated. Take it out, hang it up. So I've moved this part of the project outside. Silicone is pretty well mixed up in here. Been shaking it for about 1.5 minutes. The container is not completely tight, but that's okay, so it drips a little bit. You want to use this stuff in a well-ventilated area, that's why I moved it outside. So I've got my material just laid out on the ground in a non-specific manner. I'm just going to stuff it up in here. In she goes. And just slopping it around. Woo! This stuff has a noxious odor to it. While removing this from the container, I'm squeezing it out. And I got to tell you, based on the odor of this, I am glad, one, that I'm doing it outside, and 2, that I took the advice of the other folks that I saw on YouTube who recommended using heavy-duty work gloves to protect your hands. Because if this chemical combination would do anything to your skin similar to how potent it smells, you're going to lose some skin, and that's just not a safe thing to do. I have the first of the 3 tarps hung, and as you can see, I've only got one glove on. As I started working on the ladder to hang this up, found out that silicone, boy is it slippery, and as soon as you start touching tools or something, you start slipping. So I've got one glove on, that's the one that I'm using directly in contact with the tarp, and the other one is off so I can handle tools or anything else that I need, for example the clips, and actually getting them hooked up on the nails that are going to... As you'll notice, the wind is blowing here a little bit, and so the fabric is sticking to itself. So the first piece of fabric is nearest to the house, and that one's been up for about 30, almost 40 minutes. And most of the mineral spirits have dried off and evaporated from that, so that's not sticking to itself. These other ones have only been up for about 10 minutes, and so I'm going to just monitor these for about 45 minutes, and when they stick together, just go ahead and pull the material back apart and let it dry out. That way you'll get a nice even coating. I've laid out 2 of the sections of material. This material is 17 feet 4 inches long, and laid it next to each piece next to each other. And I have applied a single strip of the press and seal tape to one piece of the material. So I've laid the material out, and now I'm just pressing it in place using my hands. I was going to use the iron, but it doesn't seem to be working really well. Probably because it's on the floor. And looking through the tape here, it looks like it's applying sufficient pressure to seal the tape into the fabric. I removed the backing of the tape, and now I am applying the second piece of material to the backing tape. And I'm just running it into position right now, so I'm not applying pressure to it. And I can do about a 3-foot section at a time. I'm just going to run over this again with my foot to apply pressure to it. Got a pair of wool socks on, so the material of my sock is going to slide right across the tarp. Well, let's give this a test. Tarp did not hold. Not going to hold. Okay, let's... Took a roll of parchment paper and stripped it out and applied it to a piece of 2x2 lumber. I've got the parchment paper on a coffee table. I've got my material laid across it where the seam is, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to heat seal and fuse the fabric together. I have an ordinary iron, and I've got it set on a setting of 5 out of 7 for the heat setting. Don't know what that relates to in temperature. I'm going to put another piece of parchment paper across the material that I want fused. I'm going to apply heat and pressure. Very happy to say that the heat sealing seems to be working well. So this part I've already heat sealed. It's got a little tack to the outside of it. This part has not been heat sealed yet. As you finish an area of heat sealing, you can notice that some of the glue is coming through and it provides a sheen, so you can tell where it has permeated with the pressure and the heat. So that gives you a real good mark of where to start your next piece. At a heat setting of 5, I've been applying the iron with about 60 pounds of pressure for 30 seconds each. And the indicators are that this glue starts working its way through, and I can also see it on the back side of the parchment paper, so I know that I have a complete seal for that section, and then I can move the iron to the next area. So doing about 8 inches at a time over 30 seconds. And then after doing a 4-foot section, I let the iron completely reheat and then do the next section.